Hey guys, it's me, Caitlin, your favorite Michigan girl and wannabe Jedi. It's Thursday, which means it's time for another one of my Star Wars vlogs, which is just mainly Star Wars Rebels recap. If you can tell, I've got some new Star Wars artwork on the wall. Well, not so new. The one on top is from my Clone Wars DVDs, and the other three are the new ones. I especially love this one. That one is awesome and amazing, and I think it's actually a good foreshadowing of what is supposed to be the season finale this year. Of which, spoiler alert, they've already put up the episode titles for the rest of the season. And the last two episodes are actually going to be shown together in an hour-long mini movie. And let's just say the titles of those two episodes aren't filling me with the greatest of confidence for what's going to happen to some of my favorite characters. Spoiler alert, the title of the last two episodes of Season 2 of Star Wars Rebels are Fall of the Apprentice Part 1 and Fall of the Apprentice Part 2. Of course, if you've been watching the mid-season trailer reactions and getting into all that cool mythos and stuff, you know that in the mid-season trailer for Season 2, the big thing that everybody was talking about is the big fight between Ahsoka and Darth Vader. At long last, we're going to get that fight. And, of course, everybody has an opinion on what's going to happen. My opinion is that she will live to fight another day because we were promised that she's going to live past Season 2. Also, that could also refer to something else people are kind of hoping for, which surprises me, is that Ezra turns to the dark side. Again, ever the optimist, I don't think he will ever turn to the dark side. I don't think Ahsoka's going to die, but that's me being an optimist, not a realist, so don't take my word for it. Also, some big news if you do Star Wars on the Star Wars YouTube channel or StarWars.com. They just released a few days ago the production announcement trailer for Star Wars Episode 8. It is official. Production has begun on the next Star Wars episode. So, yay! I can't wait to see it. Of course, it's not coming out till 2017. But that's all right because in the meantime, we do have the Rogue One movie coming out this year, which should be a really awesome movie because it's about how they get the plans to bring down the Death Star. So if you haven't, I will link to the production announcement trailer. It's really short, but it's really cool and it's just getting me so excited for the next chapter of Star Wars. I can't see what happens to Rey, Luke, Leia, Finn, and Poe as they continue the fight against the Resistance. And maybe Kylo Ren will turn out to be just like his grandfather. Maybe there's still a spark of good in him that will help them bring down the First Order. I don't know. I'm just excited. Anyway, so that's some good news. Also, I'm going to link to two more other videos from StarWars.com. You're going to get a link for the top 10 clones, and top 10 lightsabers. Now, I agree with who's number one on the clone list, not so much with who's number one on the lightsaber list. I personally believe it should be Ezra's lightsaber that's number one because I think it's the most practical lightsaber ever built and also the coolest. But that's just me, so go check out those videos and tell me what you think. Do you agree with number one or do you think it should be somebody else? So enough about the links and stuff. Let's get on to last night's episode titled Homecoming. Now, kind of a bummer because, as I said, two of my favorite Star Wars characters are Ahsoka and Rex, and I was so excited with how many episodes they were in the first half of the season. Like I said, they were in almost every single episode. It was amazing and cool and awesome, and I loved seeing them, and then all of a sudden this season starts, and we get one episode where Rex is in it for 2 minutes, and then we haven't seen him or Ahsoka since. Granted, they're probably off doing work for the rebellion, but, I miss them. But that's okay, because Homecoming reintroduced some Clone Wars characters that kind of have a little bit of an interesting history. So, let's get started. In Homecoming, the Rebels are doing what they do best. Being a thorn in the Empire side and trying to bring it down little bit by little bit. There's just one issue. After their recent battle, they really need to find someplace safe to keep their starfighters. Now, they don't have a base, and it's getting kind of difficult to find one. But Commander Sato gets word from a resistant fighter on Ryloth that there is an Imperial light carrier in the system. That's perfect for them to use to keep their starfighters in. Well, there's just one little problem. And Hera is the one who says she'll make contact with the freedom fighter because, well, it's her dad. Remember the name Cham Syndulla? If you watch Clone Wars, you should. He's that resistance fighter who in Liberty on Ryloth teamed up with Master Mace Windu to help bring down Rot Tambor and the droid army to free the planet. Well, after that, when the Grand Army of the Republic kind of morphed into the Empire stayed on Ryloth. So now Syndulla is fighting them. Well, that's kind of put a rift between him and Hera. See, Hera wanted to fight for something bigger. She's a dreamer. Unlike her father, who's kind of a leader and can only see a little bit of a smaller picture. So it turns out there's a big rift between him and Hera, and they haven't talked in years. So her contacting him to tell him they need their help, well, that's a big step. I have to say, in Clone Wars, I thought Syndulla was a really cool character. I thought he was brave and a great leader. In Rebels, in this episode, for the most part, I thought he was a humongous jerk. At one point, he actually says that fighting for freedom, for the freedom of your planet, and being devoted to that is kind of more important than family. I don't believe that. I mean, freedom is important and all, but I don't think it should cost you your family. And Hera says after her mother died fighting in the Resistance, her dad became that much more obsessed with it. Also, we get to see 2 more characters from the Season 1 Ryloth arc. It's so cool. We see Gobi and Numa. Gobi was a minor character in Liberty on Ryloth. We see for like 5 seconds and he's gone. But Numa had a big role in the episode Innocence of Ryloth, which is actually one of my all-time favorite Clone Wars episodes. Usually my favorite Clone Wars episodes have to do with Ahsoka because, of course, she's my favorite Star Wars character pretty much overall. But I love the episode Innocence of Ryloth. It was really cool, and I had one of my other favorite clone troopers, Waxer. Numa is the little girl that Waxer and Boyle find when they're scouting, and they end up helping her, and in return, she helps them defeat the droids, and set the townspeople free. Yay! Well, she's back! Now she's all growing up and fighting alongside Syndulla to help free Ryloth from the Imperials. So, it sounds like a good plan, except, of course, Syndulla's being all kind of mean and bratty when it comes to Hera kind of being in charge of the mission and stuff. Apparently, he holds a grudge against her because she didn't stay on Ryloth to help him. Well, they think the plan's going to work. Basic plan, use a bomber, sneak onto the carrier, get the carrier, and take it back. Plans never go as they should, right? We all know this by now. Turns out, Syndulla, Gobi, and Numa, they kind of have their own plan. They want to inspire the people of Ryloth to rise up and fight. And what better way to do that than blow up the carrier that's over the planet? But the rebels kind of need that carrier, so it turns out that Syndulla and his friends were planning on betraying them. Yeah, that's not the best way to have a dad-daughter reunion. Luckily, though, everything turns out okay in the end when Syndulla finally realizes that he needs to work together with Hera. 1, to get away from the Imperials, and 2, he can still have his gigantic statement to encourage Ryloth to stand up and help Hera get the ship back to the rebellion. So, yay! They make up, but I still feel like he's kind of a big jerk. Not so much now, but he's still a big jerk. I mean, you have to kind of be a big jerk if you're willing to betray your daughter and her friends. Even if it's for a good cause. I mean, come on, it's family. You really shouldn't be betraying your family, right? I've already seen some online reviews for Homecoming, and it's actually been getting rave reviews. In fact, one review, the headline said that Star Wars Rebels Homecoming was actually the strongest Rebels episode to date, which is kind of amazing. There isn't like a lot of big action sequences or anything. It's really just a tale about family and trying to reconcile it. It's good. I don't think it will ever be one of my favorite episodes. I pretty much like all the Star Wars Rebels episodes, just like I like all the Clone Wars episodes. It's just there are some I like more than others. This one's good, but I don't think it will go down in history as like one of my all-time favorite episodes. And it's basically because, again, he's a jerk. But saving grace, we do get some really funny moments. It wouldn't be Star Wars without making us bust out laughing. And the first funny moment comes from the resident Jedi, Kanan. I am so used to Kanan being now more stoic and serious. He's kind of becoming more like Obi-Wan and less like Anakin. See, I've always seen him as that. He's reckless, impulsive, and then he can be just as stoic and serious. So it's like you get a combination of the two. But he's becoming more like Obi-Wan. I'm like, oh, I don't want you to be that serious. I want you to be the guy who's coming up with a plan and then halfway through you have to change the plan because you're screwed up. But it's funny. So I'm so used to seeing him stoic and serious. And then for some odd reason, he starts in Homecoming when they go to meet Sam Syndulla for the first time. He's going fanboy crazy. Oh my gosh. He's checking out how he looks. He wants to make sure he looks nice. He's telling Ezra to straighten up because Ezra's making him look bad. And he gets introduced to him and he's like bowing and I'm sitting there laughing at him. He was like total fanboying out, and he does it again. In one scene, they're on their way to the carrier, they're sitting in the bomber, and Kanan is listening to Syndulla, and he's practically hanging on Syndulla's every word about the battle for Ryloth during the Clone Wars. I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, he's a total fanboy. It's horrible, and I couldn't stop laughing. So turns out, I guess even Jedi can have total fan crazy moments when they meet their idols. But it was really funny. Another funny moment that I could not stop laughing was this is the first episode where Ezra does that Jedi mind trick, and he does it successfully. Now, in Siege of Lothal, Ezra attempts to do the Jedi mind trick when they try to sneak into the Imperial Center, and it doesn't work. So Kanan steps in and does it, and it works. And Ezra's comment is he wishes he could do that, while Kanan says he wishes that it worked on Ezra. Quick side note, this makes me think that we know that the mind trick, mind suggestion thing, it doesn't work on certain alien species, and if you have a particularly strong mind. But it also makes me wonder if maybe it doesn't work on other Force sensitives. I don't know. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. This is one Jedi ability that we don't know a lot about. It's cool, but maybe it's not like the most practical thing. Maybe it's really hard to master. We don't know. It doesn't. You can try and work. In Clone Wars, there is that scene where Master Windu, Obi-Wan, and Anakin, all three use it on Cad Bane, and they think it works. Well, they manage to get the holocron back, but they don't get the kids. But, I don't know. It's just one of the abilities I think is one of the most interesting, but I think it's one of the most difficult to learn and be able to do because you're technically influencing another living person to do something you want them to do. So, this is the first episode where we see Ezra actually do. It's not the first time we've seen Ezra do it, but it's the first time Ezra's done it and he's been successful. And again, like Kanan fanboying out, this one made me laugh so much. I literally could not stop laughing the entire time the scene was happening. Because it was just so funny. Ezra's first attempt, he's like, I really mean it. And it's like, oh, wow. And it works, which is really surprising, but it works. And Katie's like, good job. And I'm like, really? I was waiting for it to stop working. So, but it worked. So, thankfully, yay, it worked. But I don't think I'll ever stop laughing about it. Also, on the note of Force abilities, Ezra's, again, is just getting stronger and stronger. Last week in the call, we saw how strong his ability to connect with other living things is with the Purgle when he was able to make that strong, deep connection that they could understand each other. This week, we see a new trick. Now, Ezra is apparently really good at Force pushing. It's kind of the first Force ability he ever used without really knowing it back in the second, third episode of the first season. He actually uses it pretty much unknowingly to save Zeb from getting killed by Agent Kallus. And he does it with so much power and so hard that he actually pushes Kallus into a wall and knocks him unconscious, which kind of startles the entire Ghost crew, including Ezra, and is finally what convinces Kanan that you need to get this kid into training soon. So this week, we again see Ezra's Force abilities and see how strong they're getting. In fact, Kanan and Ezra show off a new trick, which I think is pretty cool. In order to help stop the Bucketheads that are shooting at them get through blast doors before they close, Kanan and Ezra actually take turns pushing each other, pushing each other through the blast doors and shooting at the Bucketheads. It works. They get to the last blaster. They're able to cut the hole, and done. So it's actually a pretty cool trick, and it's interesting. I've never seen a trick like that before using the Force, so it was actually really cool and innovative and interesting. I hope we see it again because it seems like a really neat way to get past the closing blast doors. Maybe when the Inquisitors finally return, we'll see them use it against the Inquisitors. Because, again, the Inquisitors aren't that strong Force users because they're technically not Sith yet, but they could use it and might be able to get past them. Remember, the Head Inquisitor was kind of hard to beat, though. So, new tricks. It was really awesome to see. So, yeah, Homecoming was a really good episode. It probably will not be one of my favorites, but I do, like with all the Star Wars Rebels episodes, I say go check it out, go see it. So it will be it's really interesting, and it's definitely more family oriented. In fact, Ezra and Hera have a really touching moment where Ezra asks Hera about her and her dad's relationship, and she explains it to him, and Ezra's the one who says, well, nothing's more important than family. So really touching scene between Ezra and Hera. Love the Kanan fanboy moments. Oh, one more thing. Rebels Recon, which again I will link at the bottom. They actually talked to Freddie Prinze Jr., who is the voice of Kanan, and they make mention of Kanan totally fanboying out over meeting Syndulla. And hey, they ask him, is it because Kanan is a big fan of the General of Syndulla's work, or is it because it's Hera's dad? Now, this is something I've been waiting for since I first started watching Rebels, and I saw Hera and Kanan how they interacted, and went, oh my gosh, they like each other. Okay, they're like crushing on each other. So I was kind of hoping that when I saw the clip of Kanan fanboying out, that maybe it wasn't because he was a fanboy, but maybe because he wanted to impress Hera's dad as Hera's potential boyfriend. Well, kind of. Freddie does say it is more of a fanboy moment, but he does admit that maybe that there's a little bit of Kanan who's trying to impress Cham Syndulla because it is Hera's dad and because Hera and Kanan have feelings for each other. Yes! Finally! Somebody admits that they like each other. Oh my gosh! Now I'm going to spend the rest of the season waiting for them to finally share a romantic moment together. Sit up. Yes, I am horrible. I know. I'm a romantic and a dreamer and an optimist, and I'm all sorts of contradictions rolled into one, especially when it comes to Star Wars. But cross my fingers. Hopefully we get that romantic moment. We almost had it in the first season at the end of the episode until Chopper interrupted. Oh my gosh, it's horrible. It's just like in the one episode of Clone Wars where Obi-Wan and Satine are staring at what could be a perfectly romantic, absolutely lovely moment, and Cody has to ruin it. He has the worst timing. Ugh. Star Wars, the universe of a million romantic possibilities with sidekicks who have the worst possible timing ever. Sorry. But at least we have confirmation that Hera and Kanan have feelings for each other. And I'm going, yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Yay. So totally go check out Homecoming if you haven't seen it yet. Next week's episode, I'm kind of curious to see. There was a sneak peek again at the end of Rebels Recon, which I will link to. And I can't really tell what the episode is about. In the clip, it looks like the crew is sneaking into like an Imperial ship or something. And Zeb is saying it's going to be a trap. And we see like an astromech unit, like in black and stuff, go and hook up and like close the doors and stuff. And I saw that, and the first thing I thought of was R5. Again, now that I'm watching Clone Wars, I keep going back and forth between Clone Wars and Rebels and seeing a lot of the similarities. And I saw that and I went, oh my gosh, it's like R5, the droid that General Grievous sent to spy on the Grand Army of the Republic. And it was like, oh my gosh, is this going to be like another R5 episode? I don't think it's going to be like that, but it was really interesting for me that automatically my mind went there. Also, to prove how totally dumb and stupid I am when it comes to Star Wars vehicles and stuff, it took me pretty much a month to figure out that the Star Destroyers of the Imperial Army, Navy, whatever it is basically the same ship, the kind of a ship that the Grand Army of the Republic use. Yes, I'm that stupid when it comes to Star Wars vehicles. Yeah. The only ones I know is I would like to fly in an X-Wing, and I think the Millennium Falcon is the coolest ship ever made. That's about it. Suffice to say, I would not be a fighter pilot or any sort of warrior. I am just a geek who likes to read, and I don't know anything about technology. So, yay. So, Homecoming, again, great episode. Rebels Recon will do the link. Also, link to the production announcement trailer for Star Wars Episode 8, and of course, top 10 clones and top 10 lightsabers. Next week, I might also do another link in that same name to top 10 Star Wars battles. I have to say, I'm not happy with what number 1 is, but that's because of who among my favorite Star Wars characters it involves. So, that might be next week. Also, big announcement. If you watched my Saturday vlog, you saw me asking for recommendations about what you guys would like me to cover once Rebels is over. We only have a few more weeks left of Star Wars Rebels. So, I put it out there, if I did more recaps, what shows would you guys like me to cover? Well, the votes are in, and starting next month, I will be doing a weekly recap on Mondays of Once Upon a Time. The second half of this season starts in a few weeks, and I can't wait. I'll do a quick recap of the first half of the season the week before, but I might also start doing videos about my favorite characters and stories. So keep watching. In a few more weeks, we'll start doing Star Wars Rebels and Once Upon a Time. And if you love fairy tales like I do, get excited, because in the second half of this season, we're going to a place nobody's ever been to in a fairy tale. We're going to the underworld, or hell. So, look out for that. Don't forget, Saturday, check me out for our weekly, hopefully non-Star Wars vlog. This week, I think I might talk about one of my favorite authors in the world, Cassandra Clare, who is the author of the Mortal Instruments and Infernal Devices books. She's also those books sound familiar, they should. They're the basis of the new TV show on Freeform, which was ABC Family, called Shadowhunters, which is fast becoming one of my new favorite TV shows. So, Saturday, check back in for a regular, hopefully non-Star Wars vlog. And if you don't like my Saturday vlogs, but love my Star Wars ones, I'll be back next Thursday with another Rebels recap. So, please click subscribe, like, or leave a question or comment below. You will like this video. I had to try. Anyway, this is Caitlin signing off. I will see you Saturday or next Thursday. I'm looking forward to it. Have a great day, and may the Force be with you.